Hey guys, it's me back with baby Clarissa with better lighting this time, although I'm not doing her nails yet. And here is baby Messiah being a sweetie pie, just sleeping there. And so I wanted to have these babies with me while I speak about how I made a doll for my mom. So my mom and I are not speaking, right? I've cut her off for a few years now because of all the negative energy that she's been throwing towards me throughout the years and the sabotage and the just the hate, you know? So I've decided to separate myself. But she sends me emails every now and then, random emails about how she claims to love me. And so I thought while I was making the Samuel kit, it looked so much like my grandmother, which is her mom. So I was like, I think that she would really, really love that gift, you know, because her mom has passed away and she's been in Canada for years without a mom, a father, nobody. And my paternal relatives treat her like trash, right? And she had a stroke and she's paralyzed on one side of her body. And all her four kids don't speak to her, obviously, because of her character. So I thought it would be sweet to send her the doll. And I wanted to talk about that experience. So I am going to insert clips of the doll. I thought she was so beautiful and looked so, oh my goodness, like her cheeks reminded me so much of my grandmother. So, so, so much. And so I packed her up and I got, it was called hematite crystal. And I got crystals to help her, you know, help ground her, you know, because she had a stroke. And so she's paralyzed. And I wanted to kind of, you know, give her a soothing doll, but also one that would motivate healing. Right. And so I sent the doll, and I remember because this was the first time I've reached out to her in years, right? So when I sent the doll, she was like, I asked her, I tried to verify her address because I wanted to just like send it as a surprise, but I was like, let me verify her address with her first. And so I did. And then she sent me back an email saying that she was scared. And I'm like, why would you be scared? Like, why would I ever do anything to hurt you? I'm not you. The hell? I'm like, I would never do anything to hurt you. I'm not that type of person. Just because you've done things to hurt me doesn't mean that I would do anything to hurt you back, right? And so she then, you know, went on to trying to add me on all social media devices that she or social media platforms that she could find. The thing about the doll is I mailed the doll off to her right before I made my big transition, like literally right before. Like it was literally like on our way. We mailed the doll and moved on because that was like me closing a chapter in my life. And so we were on the way here, you know, the whole time when she was getting the doll and getting it mailed to her and stuff, right? And so I remember she added me and I guess I wasn't responding to her. And then she was like, don't show me those creepy dolls or those scary dolls or something. And I'm just like, what are you talking about? Like, why are you on my social media platforms looking at what I'm doing and then telling me not to show you those dolls? I haven't shown you anything, right? Remember, this is day one of contact. All I did was ask to verify her address. And so I was like, you know, I don't have space or time in my life for this. Like, if you have 5 seconds to speak to me and the first thing you're going to do is going on my page to criticize me and what I do, then honey, you don't need to be in my life, right? And so I told her exactly that. I'm like, you know, it hasn't even been like 24 hours, buddy. And look at your behavior. This is why I don't speak to you, you know? And reblocked her again. I told her that the gift was, you know, a token of my love, a token of my appreciation. I even sent like, because she was saying how she misses me and the kids or whatever. And I sent a poem that I wrote from my heart, right, to her about the hurt. And it's just like basically like a story about my journey and what it was like to be her daughter, you know, like through my eyes. And she was like, what is this? What is this? Like, what is this? So I'm just like, exactly. Like, it's her attitude towards everything, right? Even though I was trying to be nice. And then, she got blocked again, and then like I think like a few weeks later, I checked my trash in like my email, and it said that I seen emails from her talking about some, oh, you're so thoughtful, thank you so much, because I channeled a beautiful message from her mother from and her father from the other side for her, right? A beautiful message. I include channeled messages with all my babies because that's the whole point of this business, right? I want you to have a positive experience. I want when you open the doll is supposed to be more than just a doll. The doll is supposed to be a vessel of love, right? Proof of love. So when you read the message I write, you are going to feel love. Well, for her, it was love, and I guess it was release, because a lot of times we hold on to so much trauma from our past and we don't realize that that's what we're doing, right? We don't realize that we're projecting the trauma that we've lived through. And sometimes we've lived through so much trauma and we've hidden all that deep within us. We've hidden those parts. We've hidden. So, and I think with her, she didn't or couldn't vocalize a lot of it, and a lot of the times we try to vocalize things and we're not believed, right? So my mother has been dealing with a lot, which is why I have space and I'm able to hold space for her. Just because I choose not to have contact with her does not mean I love her any less. Doesn't mean that I don't love her. I choose not to have contact with her for my own well-being. I choose not to have contact with her because I know her and nothing good ever. Look, see, little monitoring spirit. Anytime I choose to have contact with her, it stirs up drama right away, immediately, right? So I don't have contact with her, but if the opportunity comes and I can show her love, I will always show her love. I love her. Like literally. I talk about her all the time with my kids, and I say good things. Just because she is the way she is, doesn't mean that you have to be that way back to her. You know what I'm saying? I see my mom and I see the trauma she's lived through and I see the trauma she hides. I understand her. I don't understand her actions, but I understand her, right? And so with that, I really wanted to make a video on it because I felt like, when we stop speaking to people and we cut people out of our lives, it's always for a reason, and that was such a reminder. It was like a big wake up call to say, like, sometimes you might miss your parents or you might miss the person that, those people that you thought one time were on your team, right? Like for kids, it's always our parents, right? Just because you miss them doesn't mean you have to be back in that energy, especially if it's taking away from you being yourself. Because imagine if I really, really, stayed in that energy with all my relatives, I would never be me, right? Which would bring me into the other topic I wanted to speak about is how, going to church, growing up in a Christian home really did morph my identity into something that I was not, really did shape me, right? Because I am obsessed with dolls, as you can clearly see, right? But growing up in a Christian church and a Christian household, dolls are an idol, right? They're a sin. You cannot have them. You cannot, do anything with them. You're not allowed to have them. You're not allowed to play with them. You're not allowed to do anything. So I wasn't allowed to have dolls growing up. And even if I was to say, like, to my grandmother, like, oh, like, I want to make dolls, or, I want to even just to even have a doll, it would be this big thing. Like, oh my God, a doll? Like, they treat it like it's Satan, right? So, yes, it's like I understand her perspective because she came here to live that life, right? To be a Christian and see through that lens. But then, this is where the adventure comes in, right? Because you as a being with your free will, are you going to let those obstacles stop you from living your dream life? Or are you going to evolve and cut free of those ties, cut those bondages off of you, right? Break free from bondage. What are you going to do? A lot of us, like I'll say, for example, the men who are, Caribbean, they don't want to be known as homophobic or not homophobic. They don't want to be gay, right? And so they lie and do all this and do the most just so their family will see them as a man. But in the reality of it, I believe that you're more of a man if you just be truthful and truthfully say who you are, right? Yeah. Like, I don't think that we should be, putting all these immense like titles and projections onto people, because I feel like if we're more open as a society, then a lot more people would be honest and true to who they really are, right? Because I had to keep that part of me hidden for so long in fear that I was going to be demonized, which obviously when I, start doing dolls, all the Christians are, running for their lives when I started posting them, but who cares? Because obviously if they're running, when they leave, that only leaves room for you to attract the people that actually are into the things that you're into and like dig who you are and your vibe. And like, that's the whole point, right? That's the point of this game. That's the point of this adventure. Like at one time, I was so sad about this journey because I was just like, what is this? But then when you really think about it, right? If you are love and you are the energy of love, is that confirmation or what? This is a fun adventure, right? So live your best life. Don't be afraid to do anything. You don't need to be afraid because at the end of the day, you cannot die. Energy never dies. Your energy will always be remaining. Your energy will always be. You will always be. And that's what matters the most, that you live your life to the fullest. Don't hold back because then when you die, you're going to regret it, right? Like when you go into the energy of our ancestors, they regret it. They regret not taking the leap, and a lot of times it's because of judgment, right? Like, oh my God, you're gonna leave your husband and you have 10 kids. Oh my God, how dare you? Blah, 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 blah. People speak down on you and you believe that, right? If I was to listen to my father and his so-called girlfriend, right, I would have still been with that dude that's cuddling up in his bed right now, right? Because they wanted me to accept literally anything. Literally anything. Like, I'm not even kidding you. The trash they wanted me to accept is absolutely diabolical. But then when you look at them as people, you can't expect more, right? Because they were trying to convince me at one point that it's okay if I pay all the bills and he only gives me $200 to contribute. And I thought, what? Like, what? How does that even make any sense, right? But that they were trying to convince me that that's the kind of man I wanted in my life. You see? See how that doesn't make any sense, right? Just like the women right now who are afraid to leave their husband and their husband treats them like trash and cheats on them and doesn't even like them. And they're afraid what society will say. So they hold their breath and they stay and they cry under their sheets at night. You're the one that's crying under your sheets at night. Everybody else is passing judgments in their bed doing what they want to do. You don't even know what they're doing in their free time. Like they're literally especially those Christian people, they're always the opposite of what they tell you. They're always the opposite, always. So it's just like, live your life because the people who are controlling your life and watching your life, they're living their life, okay? You might not know about it, but they're living their life, okay? These people who try to convince you not to do certain things and, oh, that's spirituality, that's witchcraft. They're doing it. They're doing it. And a lot of the times they know that they're doing it. This is not something that is hidden and it's only hidden from you and they just don't want you to do it. Okay? Yeah. What I've learned on this journey is that you cannot take like everything is an assignment, right? Everything is an illusion. Okay, literally, this universe is filled with illusions. This is illusions within illusions within illusions, okay? Therefore, what that means is you can literally go into any illusion you choose at any point in time, which is why they say the world is your oyster, my friend. You can be and do anything you want, anything you please, anything your heart desires is you. It's yours. Oh my gosh, guys, guess what? Off topic, but this morning, I woke up and I seen an angelic guide. Oh my gosh. That made me so happy all day because like I was laying down and I seen this blue light and then I was like, what is that? And then I know what I saw. It was like a being going like this. They were shaped up and down, like up and down. They were shaped like a human, but they weren't shaped like a human. Like there was no head. Okay, I guess there was a head. I don't know. Anyways, but their heart or whatever was in the middle of them was glowing blue. That's what woke me up. And oh my goodness, I just felt so happy all day. So yeah, guys, we are like never alone. And even though it seems as though we can't see our loved ones on the other side rooting for us, they're rooting for us. Okay, they are rooting for us. Sometimes, our brains can't make sense of what is going on in the moments or like why these things are happening. But the thing is, like, just enjoy it. Enjoy the bad times, enjoy the good times, enjoy all the times, because at the end of the day, this is an adventure. And you don't want to die and be like, oh my gosh, you mean to tell me that I was in control the entire time and I didn't step in control? I started stepping in control. I started saying, I love me some LaQuisha. And I'm going to show LaQuisha love. And so I've decided that going forward, anything LaQuisha wants, LaQuisha gets. Yeah. I've decided to spoil myself the way I know I deserve to be spoiled as a child. I'm even making myself a little baby, a little bambino that I'm gonna name LaQuisha. And that baby is going to be so loved. Like, I can't wait to finish her. And yeah, I have a few more babies that I will be posting, but just taking a little while because of my slow painting style. Yeah, taking a while. But we'll see, because I'm trying new things. I've learned throughout this journey that you can watch all the Reborn videos on like how to paint and whatnot, but I feel like you learn way more when you just do it yourself, or like even for myself, I guess, for me. Like I feel like whenever I am going off of a video, I hate how the baby turns out. And then when I do it myself, I'm like, oh my gosh, because I guess I'm making them in, my image, the image of what I deem beautiful, because they say beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And this is what I deem beautiful. Little babies like this. So I'm proud of myself. I'm super proud of myself, okay? Super proud, because I'm telling ya, I would have never thought. Like, oh my goodness. Such a sweet bambino. Yeah. Well, anyways, thanks for listening to me ramble on about my mama. Thanks for loving Clarissa with me. Thanks for loving Messiah with me. Thanks for sharing a space in all love and light. And I look forward to posting more videos and like being best friends forever. Okay? Well, toodaloo. Have a great night.